Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to Tech Growth Stocks channel. Today I present you a new episode. Specifically, I will give you 5 top software stocks for 2021. So these software stocks have excellent momentum and they have good growth as well. And the software sector has been a leading sector for quite some years now. So I think it definitely pays if you watch that video until the end with me and have a look at all of these stocks. So before I start right off with the first leading software stock, I have to make a short disclaimer. This video does not constitute financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only, so please consider that. And one more quick note, please subscribe now to my channel with a link in the description below so that going forward you do not miss any market leading stocks from me. So please subscribe now. Okay, so that was it for the intro. So let's start right off with the first top software stock for 2021. And it is Zoom Video Communications. Here you can see the long-term chart of Zoom Video. And as you can see, Zoom Video was a quite recent IPO in April 2019. So it's a quite young company. And why do I mention that? Because in general, in the first 10 years after their IPOs, the stocks have the strong around 95% of their super performance happening. And so it definitely pays if you buy young companies with strong growth and momentum characteristics, because these could happen to have their strongest runs, and you could be in these strong stocks. So these are excellent buy candidates. So, and Zoom Video, after its IPO, it had formed a nice IPO base, and it could break out of that IPO base around February 2020 and form a nice and very strong uptrend since then. In the short-term chart, you see an uptrend here, and you see also we have been consolidating since October 19th, around that date, in Zoom Video. And here we had a, you see as well, here we made a low, and then we had a shakeout here, which is quite strong. Recently we traded off the lows in Zoom Video, and now it looks like we are finding a bottom here. And I think soon we could advance further in Zoom Video and continue with that strong uptrend here. Especially when we look at the growth characteristics, Zoom Video is very strong. The EPS growth is super strong with 5,050%. The sales growth is also super strong with 361%. And the relative strength rating is very good with 95. So I think Zoom Video is definitely a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so that was it for Zoom Video. Now let's have a look at the next software stock. And it is NET, Cloudflare. Here you can see the long-term chart of Cloudflare, and as you can see, Cloudflare as well has been a recent IPO in September 2019. After its IPO, it formed a nice IPO base, and it could break out of that sideways moving period in around March 2020 and form a nice and very strong uptrend since then. The short-term chart you see here is sideways movement or a period of pause in that uptrend, period of pause, which is a base, and we could break out of that base around October 9th and from trade strongly to the upside here with a strong volume coming into the stock, which is a favorable sign for Cloudflare. And you see as well, we traded higher and higher in Cloudflare, and recently, looks like we are building a base here. So another period of pause and a breakout of that pausing period would be a very strong sign for Cloudflare. When we look at the growth characteristics, the EPS growth is not the strongest for Cloudflare. It's minus 20%. But the sales growth is very good with 51%, and the relative strength rating is also very good with 94. So Cloudflare is definitely a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so that was it for Cloudflare. Now let's have a look at the next top software stock. And it is APPN Corporation. Here you can see the longer term chart of Appen, and as you can see, Appen was an IPO in May 2017, so it's also a quite young company in its first 10 years after its IPO. So it's in its super performance phase now, or should be in its super performance phase. And after its IPO, you see we moved into an uptrend, a volatile uptrend. We had always like strong breakouts and reversals, breakouts, reversals, breakouts, reversals. This took quite some time until, let's say, September 2020, and since then we could break out of that phase and form a nice and very strong uptrend. In the short-term chart, you see that uptrend here, and yeah, you see also we bounce quite often off the 50-day moving average. Here we bounce off the 50 here. Here we bounce off the 50-day moving average. Here we bounce off the 40-day moving average. And yeah, recently here we traded strongly to the upside. We came back a little bit, built a period of pause or a base, and beginning in January 13th, we could break out of that base, trade strongly to the upside. So I think from a momentum perspective, Appen is looking excellent here. When we look at the growth characteristics, CPS growth is not the strongest, it's minus 30%, and the sales growth is 6%. But as said, the momentum or the relative strength is very strong with, or is strong with 94. So I think Appen is also a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so that was it for Appen. Now let's have a look at the next top software stock for 2021, and it is MSTR, MicroStrategy. Here you can see the longer term chart of MicroStrategy, and as you can see, for quite some time we have been moving sideways in MicroStrategy, and just recently around October 2020 we could break out of that sideways movement and form a nice and very strong uptrend in MicroStrategy. The short-term chart, you see that uptrend here. You see here we accelerated to the upside. We had a short-term consolidation, and then we continued with the uptrend strongly. And yeah, just last week on, or this week on Friday, we had here a strong breakout, but we came back with the overall market a little bit from the open. When we look at the growth characteristics for MicroStrategy, the EPS growth is sluggish with minus 169%, and the sales growth is 0, but the relative strength rating is good with 94. So I think MicroStrategy is also a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so that was it for MicroStrategy. Now we come to the last top software stock for 2021 for today, and it is Zscaler. Here you can see the long-term chart of Zscaler, and as you can see, Zscaler was a recent IPO in March 2018. After its IPO, it formed a nice IPO base here, could break out strongly of that IPO base and form a strong uptrend, let's say until around July 2019. Then it had a consolidation phase, and around April 2020 could break out of that consolidation and correction phase and form a nice and very strong uptrend since then. In the short-term chart, you see that uptrend here. You see as well here we had a base building phase or a period of pause in that uptrend, and you see here a strong earnings breakout of that period of pause. And yeah, you see as well we could trade higher and higher in Zscaler, and recently we came back a little bit, and now we are trading around the 30-day moving average, and I think we could bounce sooner or later. We could bounce from there and trade to the upside. When we look at the growth characteristics, these are excellent for Zscaler. The EPS growth is super strong with 533%. The sales growth is also strong with 49%, and the relative strength rating is good with 92. So Scalar is definitely a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so these were the software stocks for 2021, and I hope in that video are some nice software stocks for you, which you can use for your research. Please subscribe now to my channel with the link in the description below, so that going forward you do not miss any market leading stocks from me, and also that you do not miss part 2 of the top software stocks for 2021, which I will release soon. And thank you for watching that video, and I think this year will be an exciting stock trading year. With all that fiscal and monetary stimulus going around the world from the governments and from all of these central banks, I think that will be a so strong stock year. We will have exploding moves in some of the names. I mean, there will be risk as well, but I think at the end of this year, 2021, we will have, I think, a strong stock market performance, especially in the tech space. So, okay guys, thank you for watching that video, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.